All right, guys, what's up? You already know what it is. I got a good friend of mine, Key Wellness. Follow on fucking YouTube. I think that's his name on Instagram as well, right?
We Win in Wellness,
Oh yeah, right.
YouTube, Key Wellness. What's good?
All right, so I don't want to make light of this topic, so like I really want to hit it hard and just kind of come from a perspective of what I see in myself, the people around me, as well as what I see as a whole. And in the most non-Uncle Tom way, I'm just thinking about some of the things that we can do to advance as a whole as far as Black people goes. You know what I'm saying? Because anybody knows anything about me, I'm pretty rough around the edges. Um, I have no desire to change the way I carry myself. The way I carry myself isn't really indicative of how intelligent I can be or how far I can go. Only probably as far as in relation to pandering to the race that is more affluent or more well off in this country. But regardless of that, I think that who I am doesn't necessarily need to change as far as the way I carry myself, as far as me taking on the African American vernacular English, or the way that I walk, or the way that because I mean, I've said this before, but African Americans are the most influential people of all time. You can find our culture, traces of our culture everywhere you go. You know what I'm saying? Anywhere there's a goddamn internet connection, you can find traces of us. All right. So with that being said, like there are a couple of things that I think we can do. And as I'm talking, I'm actually reminded of something that I saw on Facebook, and I can't remember verbatim, but basically it was a black guy, dark skinned guy. He was basically talking about, I protest too, but my protest is me having a great credit score, and me being a ranger in the military, whatever. All of these accolades for him to kind of boast, but it does not matter what you have going for you. If people want to see you as a nigga, if people want to see you as a nigger, if people want to see you as a coon, a jig, whatever, they will see you that way. It doesn't matter the accolades. So the things that I'm going to talk about, that Key is going to talk about, has nothing to do with what's going to get you accepted by whites, by Asians, by any
Right.
other race. This is more so about what you can do to advance your narrative and the narrative of your people. So where I do agree that you should do everything that you can do to like not stay in, to not go to jail and things like that. You know what I'm saying? There isn't too much
Mhm.
you can do to change the mind of people whose mind is made up. And I really personally have no desire to change the mind of anybody, no matter what the race is. But
Yeah.
so I just want to get into it. I took down a couple of notes, but I don't really need them too much.
Yeah.
So first of all, I just want to start with like the acceptance. You know what I'm saying? Too many of us, and I understand why it could be a defense mechanism. It could be for advancement purposes, could be fear, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We need to lose our need to um, seek and or try to get acceptance from white people. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Especially because a lot of us, you know, we we have this way about us where we can't 100% be ourselves around white people for some reason. It's almost like we see them as more intelligent than ourselves. Now we want to kind of doctor up the way that we talk, for example,
Exactly.
or what we talk about, for that
Yeah.
matter. And I feel like you are kind of getting in your own way if you can't be who you are, and around all people. You know what I'm saying? So like the way that I'm talking on camera is the way that I talk to my child's mother, is the way I talk to my friends. It's the way I talk to my grandmother, who actually is white, by the way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I kind of,
Mhm.
I have a unique perspective because my blood grandmother actually is white. she never tried to change anything about me, never tried to, say that I should be more like this or more like that. She encourages me to be myself. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that would have been my mindset if she made my skin complexion to be a problem. She didn't. And, so regardless of the fact where I am right now, I'm not looking for acceptance from anybody else, but really from myself. So what do you got to say about that?
Yeah. I am super rebellious. I'm super rebellious. Like anything that I see most people doing, usually I want to do the opposite of. So like even when like with starting my own small business, those things come into my mind a lot, especially like with conforming to the way business is done and, the white system, like I really have a hard time just like getting with that program, like I just want to be me and I just want to be able to speak how I want to speak at times. I want to be able to show all sides of myself. Like I don't want to be in a box like this is you. That's why I really I see a lot of people who make it successful and it seems like they all kind of conform to that same, well, women, especially Black women, the kind of feel like we have to conform to that same, dress like this, talk like this, be feminine like this, like it's like that same narrative. And I just don't want to fall into that. I want to be able to be myself, rock all natural, wear what I want to wear, dress like a tomboy sometime and still be able to come on camera and speak and be heard, and not have to put on a front and put on this whole fake attitude just to get people to listen, like that's just, I feel you on that. I don't want to have to conform to that. Like, I should be able to be who I am. And I think it's great. We need more people like that. We need to see more people being real. And that's what people want right now. I really feel like people really respecting that these days because you don't look like a robot trying to be like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. And so when you talk about being a robot, it actually reminds me of kind of what I came to the conclusion of and what I read in either Purple Cow or Lynchpin by Seth Godin, where he's basically saying that people are still trying to align themselves with the way of old, the way that, I mean, it's pretty much dead, but we can at least consider it to be dying down, which is trying to fit into the nuts and bolts of a system. In fact, becoming the nuts and bolts of a system, but that's not where we are anymore. You know what I'm saying? This world more so benefits the creators, you know what I'm saying, the innovators, right, and all of that.
Exactly.
And so that's not going to help us advance as a people because it brings, to a point that you just brought up and something that I wrote down. If we want to advance the narrative for our people, we have to go into business for ourselves. Okay, so one thing that you need to understand, per capita, Black people are at the bottom of the list. Okay, the only people doing better than white people in America are the Asians coming to America, and that's because as far as the ratio goes, more people, I want to say 1 out of 5 Asians in America are business owners. 1 out of 35 white people are business owners. I want to say 1 out of 105 Latino people are business owners, and probably 1 out of, I think, 175 or something like that of Black people run their own business. But when you want to talk about what's going to end racism, people think, because I got Black friends or because I don't say nigger and things like that, there's no racism. Or you think because that's you don't hear that anymore, that's going, or if you took that away completely, there wouldn't be any racism. But race is a competition. Racism is keeping a certain race in power. Okay, and how do you keep a certain race in power? Is because it's resources. Resources is what keeps people in power. You know what I'm saying? Right. So until we have the resources, we are always going to be in trouble. We always going to be looking for a seat at the table. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
we're always going to be looking for that. So we need a rise in more business owners. So it's not.
Hmm.
I'm definitely not upset with people who look like us out here getting great jobs, high paying jobs, working in the IT field and things like that. But the fact of the
Hmm.
matter is, you know, you can take the skills that you learn and work for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
when I used to work in construction, and it was full of a lot of black people and a lot of uh, Latinos. Now they rose among the ranks and made pretty great money. But what I've also saw, which is pretty good, is that a lot of them, end up working for themselves, and which kind of also reminds me that going out there and getting a trade and an apprenticeship and all things like that is a lot of people will argue is actually better than going to get a college education. And I know people
Mhm.
who I ran the streets with, did crimes with, who are making more than doctors, never even went to college, barely even
Yeah.
graduated. In fact, I'm talking like GED level. I'm talking Job Corps, things like that, making more money than doctors. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Yeah.
also that's working for somebody. You know what I'm saying? Working for yourself, opportunities abound. Like
Yeah.
it's not as laid out for you as, okay, go to college, get a good job. It's not that laid out for you, but the resources are around. And and
Hmm.
I'm let you speak on that, but because I'm speaking of resources, then I have to talk about something else that I put on the list, and it's just acquire information. You know what I'm saying? All the time, always acquire information, even for
Yeah.
things that you may not find any use of. Like for example, I'm reading this book right here, Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins. All right, so I
Hmm.
mean, it's the pretty much going to be the biggest book that I'm gonna read all the way through, but it's basically telling you what to do with your money when you get it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of debunking in this book right here. A lot of speaking out against old investment methods that aren't even working anymore.
Yeah.
401ks and mutual funds
Hmm.
even. So it's a lot of speaking out against that. So I just brought it up because that's what
That
was right
sounds
beside me.
good.
That's what I'm reading right now. But
Hmm.
acquiring just information of so many different topics that can help you advance, and so you can have something to pass on to other people.
Right. So for me, I feel that's most important is wellness. That's why I'm in that field of just um because if we, depressed all the time and sad and just don't feel like we want to be on earth anymore, then we're definitely not going to get anywhere, in this life. We're not going to advance. So that's why it's so important to me, just mental health. That's where I feel like me personally, I want to start. I just feel like everybody's in a different lanes. Everybody has their own lane. Like there's some people out there on the front line, protesters who want to, fight, and there's people who want to get into the money economics, the corporate business about everything like that. But for me, it starts with healing the people, the minds of the people. We're pretty much sick. We're sick, and we've been controlled and programmed by a sick system. So that wants to keep us down. That's not in our best interest. So I feel like just to get back to mentally healing and physically and eating well and just taking care of our bodies is where we have to start. And our self-esteem, just feeling better about ourselves, and because with those things I've seen, we can come together with the jealousy, the hatred, the envy, the greed, the money problems. Like we are not going to be able to really unite, like as a people, but like I said, there's different lanes for everybody. Everybody has their own, position to play. That's why I'm like, everybody trying to get at other people, like, no, you need to be doing this with us. Like, nah, that's your lane, this my lane. Why you why are you so, hostile on me joining your getting in your lane, it's
Yeah,
like, so yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And the fact of the matter is, when you talk about self-esteem, we have so many trendsetters. The thing is, and this is one thing that I found is that a great deal of people who started something, a great deal of trendsetters are often like come from, impoverished areas, and they never really get to get the fruits
Mhm.
that the
Yeah.
people who capitalize on it get. And
Mhm.
yeah, I don't, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, obviously mental health and spiritual health, because we deal with a lot of generational hurt, generational
Mhm.
pain,
Right. It's
and
real. It's real.
yeah, so it's like, and I've been on a spiritual journey. It wasn't the easiest for me, but for about 7 years or so, and it allowed me to always put things into perspective that allowed me to make constant growth, and just to to take a step back, even like at a time like this where our
Yeah.
initial thoughts are to join people in the protest
Right.
and maybe even the riots,
Exactly.
things like that. But
Mhm.
well, first of all, I mean, I kind of already spoke to it. It's just that I don't think that that's the particular move for me right now. I don't know what
Mhm.
my best move would be, but until then, I have to play the game as I know it, and that's just to be observant and taking the information. Now, some people may
Right.
say that that is passive, but sometimes the best move is to sit back and watch things. Like, for example, in football, you have the players on the field and you have the coaches on the field. But what a lot of people don't pay attention to is that you also have coaches high up in the box. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not
Yeah.
necessarily superior to anybody else, but they have a different view. So
Mm.
they can interact with the people who are out in the field who are bound to miss something. Such
Yeah.
such things happen in war.
Mm.
And
Right.
but yeah,
That
but
makes sense.
yeah, but but back to your point, you're right. We have to do things that will allow us to actually heal mentally and not see, because everybody doesn't have this particular option, but I do have the option to not take the bait. Now I understand
Yeah.
how drugs and alcohol and all that were introduced into our community,
Exactly.
but these are the very communities that are being gentrified now. The people who are in these areas, they're too far gone to take it back. They're too far gone to do anything
Yeah.
about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot of areas that are being wiped out right now, full of oppressed people, full of people who are, on the drug spectrum, and they can't make much of a difference. You know what I'm saying? That's their life.
Mhm.
You know, it's
Yeah.
it's part of what helped us get wiped out by and large. But the fact of the matter is, it didn't wipe us out completely. So we
Right.
have a lot of life. We have a lot of bodies. We have a lot of ambitious people. A lot of people with some fire in them. The narrative isn't over for us, but we also can't play in certain games. We can't get involved in things that are going to hold us back. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We have to find
Mhm.
healthy ways to deal with our anger so we don't pass that
Exactly.
shit on to our children or the people
Exactly.
around. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot
Right.
we still taking on a slave mentality in a sense where
Right. Exactly.
like where the master beat us down, so then we go beat our women or we go beat our
Exactly.
children and things like that.
And children.
Right,
Exactly.
right. So we can't afford to keep doing it. And also,
Mhm.
it brings me back to what I was saying about information. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, because it used to be a time when we get killed for learning how to read, and like it's been presented to me. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't read if it could save our lives. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mhm.
we don't really see the benefit of that because we need instant gratification. And now I would
Exactly.
notice how I'm saying we. So I'm not pointing a finger at anybody. I'm
Yeah.
just as
We all do it.
yeah, I'm just as guilty. You know what I'm saying? I'm no better than anybody if I've read 100 books this fucking year.
Right.
But it's what I noticed in myself is what I noticed. That's what's keeping us back. That's what really sets us. That's what sets the other people apart. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah. It's like with the whole getting all the information, I do feel like it is very, very important to get all the information, soak it all up. Um, I feel like it can come to a point where one day you're going to need it, but there may be a day that all the information, you know, is not even needed. So like, I feel like what is important is the children, and kids don't learn by what you saying. Kids watch what you doing. So I feel like that is important for just a child to see you reading, you know, because many kids are not seeing their parents reading or doing something productive or socially active, or, you know, taking care of their bodies, eating healthy. So, you know, they mostly see, I ain't saying there's a lot of people healing and doing better in the community, but, you know, some people just on their phones all day. Get a kid a little tablet, be on their phone all day, you know. And I know it's it's rough, but I understand why people do it, because we just kind of want to forget about everything and stuff. But like, I just saw just the little changes. And when I have my son, he lives with his dad, but when I have him, I know, you know, he gets to see a whole different side with his dad. But when he's with me, like, even just changing my diet, eating healthier, just seeing how he's getting it just by watching me. Like, like he would have like he had like some cookies, and he was about to eat his cookies, and then I got out a mango and started cutting it and eating it. And then he's like thought about it, like, I want some, you know, and then he started to eat the mango, and he threw his cookies away. Just little stuff like that. Just like, and I felt so good about that. I just felt like I'm enriching him just by enriching myself, you know, like doing better. And even when he see me reading and writing, kids are always gonna remember that stuff, like what their parents was doing. If they parents would, if you was out there, you know, your kids seeing you, you know, doing some bad habits, or messing with a lot of men if you're a woman, or messing with a lot of women if you're a man, like they're getting that. That's all soaking up. Like, and that's why I feel like that's the main thing we have to do. That's why I feel like it all starts with us and our lives, our livelihood, our wellness. And once we're better and what more well, our kids are going, it's naturally going to reflect. So, because they are the future. Our kids are the future. When we're gone, that's why I be thinking about being a grandmother. Like, maybe all this information, this stuff that I know now won't even, I mean, some people are going to get it. It's going to help a lot of people now. But when I'm old and I'm, you know, I feel like older people are kind of more respected and seasoned. So like, just to be able to have that knowledge and information as an older woman, to be able to pass down to younger generations. So I just want to be able to be around longer, you know, be healthy, to even pass this information down as an elder. I think that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of being an elder, one thing that's extremely important is generational wealth. And
Mm-hmm.
it's as simple as acquiring term life insurance. Now, there's other type of life insurances, but
Mm-hmm.
a policy, you know, like a $250,000 policy, meaning
Right.
$250,000 go to your descendants when you die, or whomever you leave the money with. You know, let's say it costs about $15 a month. You can probably find that cheaper. You know, $15 a month. Let's say you live 70 years from the moment you get that. I think that's
Yeah.
about, I could be wrong, but I think that's about like 15,000, something like that. I actually want to pull out the,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't come
Mm-hmm.
anywhere close to what $250,000 policy is. That's generational wealth. Imagine what
Yeah.
you could do if you inherited $250,000.
Okay.
You know, when you already got the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge of what to
Yeah.
do with your money when you get it. Like you saw, I brought
Right.
up the book earlier. You know, just things like that to know what to
Mm-hmm.
do when you get
Yeah.
your hands on it, so you don't splurge it. So
Right.
you know, so you don't spend it on a new J's, or
Mm-hmm.
you know, a bunch of
Yeah.
liability. You spend it on things that's going to allow you to, you know, make money, and so you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to work for anybody.
Right. That's definitely important. I don't really think about that much, but I have been hearing that lately too about life insurance, and I do believe that's huge. That is huge. So like, once, you know, someone passes on, the children will have something, you know, like they can buy some land, or even leaving them some land, just having some land already owned and be able to leave them land or, leave them a life insurance policy. So that's great. But at the same time, yeah, they have to have the knowledge, like the children have to have the knowledge as to what they're going to do with the money. Like you said, if the person with the life insurance policy, okay, they have a life insurance policy, they're going to leave their family money. That's great and all, but are they leaving their family information with what to do with that money also, like intelligence and,
Yeah.
financial literacy and like actually knowing what to do. So like it goes hand to hand. If you're going to leave somebody some money, then make sure, they're smart enough to know how to extend it, what they're going to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. And I just did the math. So if you were paying $15 a month for a $250,000 life insurance policy, you would be paying $180 a year. You multiply that times 70 years if you live that long from the point you get it. That's $12,600.
Mm-hmm. That's
Sound
pretty
like
good.
Yeah, it sounds like a fucking great investment
Right.
to
And
me.
say if you're paying 50, yeah, if you're doing 50 a month, that is a great investment. That's something that we should all be looking to do. And not only life insurance, I mean, maybe just, saving that a month. If, I don't know how life insurance policies work, like if you have to pay them or if you miss a payment, I don't know how that works, but just saving that much, like learning how to save money. That's something I have to, learn too. Just actually get better at like learning how to save and how important it is. Cause I be living sometimes like day to day, like, look, I just can do the best I can for the day, live in the moment. But that is very important. It really is.
Yeah. So I mean, but when it comes to that, because I'm obviously not an expert. There's a lot of power in planting those seeds. So a lot of information that I'm reading up on now, get more familiar with, I kind of knew about it years ago, but wasn't necessarily ready to make that jump. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I mean, yeah, there's different types of life insurance. One you pay monthly, $15. You know what I'm saying? You can find
Yeah.
something less, cheaper, depending on what type of policy you want, depending on who you go with. There's also type of life insurances that I'm not completely familiar with that don't require you to keep paying monthly. It's actually very intricate. It's something that I was listening to on his YouTube video about infinite banking and how you can turn yourself into a bank based on a type of life insurance that you get that you can borrow from while you're alive. See, when I'm talking about term life insurance, you can't touch that until after you're dead. Now, there's types of life
Yeah.
insurance that I can't even remember the name. I guess you call it universal or something like that, where you can kind of
Mm-hmm.
borrow from it while you're alive and you put it back, just kind of whenever you choose to. It's not that simple, but that's a part of it. And then you can take that money and then invest it. Take the money that you get from investing and you put it back. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason why I'm reading this book, Money Master the Game, and I showed it to you because he actually interviewed some of the top investors in the world, billionaires, and so I'm getting a lot of helpful information. And this is basically, like I said earlier, is kind of speaking to how people are being kind of fucked over in their 401ks. You know what I'm saying? It was an experiment for baby boomers and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of baby boomers aren't won't be able to live on that alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When they finally do collect on that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so to kind of wrap this up, what is your biggest takeaway?
Um. Well, like I said, just starting with ourselves and our community and our own families and healing ourselves. That's my biggest thing of advancing the people. Um, I feel like my end is not to I be, getting knowledge on the financial part, but I really feel like as a person who knows myself, I think it's good to know that I need somebody with that information. I can't, I'm not in all lanes, you know, I'm not that person that, at first I try to play myself like, yeah, I can do it all by myself. I know it all. But really I have to realize what my strengths and weaknesses are. And one of my weaknesses are just like with the finance. So I could use like somebody who has more knowledge and stability and really knows what they're talking about when it comes to financing and what's gonna help me advance in that area. But for me, like, I'm more on the, you know, mental health and wellness, and that's what I thrive in, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's good for people to know their strengths and weaknesses and where they could improve and where they need help at, you know, and reach out for that help and just speak out. I think speaking out is important, especially about these emotional traumas and things that we have to let go of, like the white man's mentality. We have to let that go. So yeah, that's where I am with that.
Yeah, great point. As I actually, we made a lot of great points, but one thing you touched on that forgot to even mention. I don't know why I didn't think about this. The family structure. All right.
Mhm.
One thing people need to know, that marriage is a lot more. It has a lot more to do with, oh, I love you, so let's be together.
Of
You know what I'm saying?
course.
Because shit gets real. And the number one reason above infidelity, reason why marriages fail, is because money. And marriage is a business decision. So a
Yeah.
lot of people go into their marriages making the worst business decision they could possibly make by spending a lot of money on a wedding,
Weddings.
the
Right.
rings, the dress, all of that shit,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the honeymoon, all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So naturally you start a relationship off making bad decisions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If marriage is, a business decision, by
Hmm.
many
It's
accounts,
a bad business decision.
yeah, it's a very bad one. I think a great way to actually kind of solidify a marriage is to go into business with each other. You know what I'm saying? And always, because and I'm it's funny because I listen to a lot of business advice channels on YouTube, and a lot of them is like couples, black couples, and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I can't even think of the names right now.
Right.
I should add a link in the description to a couple of them, but
Mhm.
that's what I've been getting advice from, and they got it right. All right. So you have people who are retired by 40 and things like that. That's the move right there. That's the goal. You're supposed to become
Right.
a unit, get the money together, rely on each other, and so this never becomes an issue. So many people
Exactly.
jump the gun just because, oh,
Hmm.
we love each other, or
Right.
the lust is there, but
Emotions. Right.
right, but that shit dies down very fast when
It
things
really does. Exactly. Exactly.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I
That's
definitely
why
look.
I feel like that's why we have to start looking at relationships totally different. And I feel like we are. I feel like the narrative of relationships is totally changing inside of me. So I know it's changing in other people's minds too. Just how we used to look at the whole romantic fantasy thing, like Disney Channel has programmed us to look at. Like it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. And that's why I have to, like, even when I find myself like looking at relationship like I used to, like a little possessive, a little obsessive, like I have to step back, like, nah, this ain't it. Cause even when I see a man like that and I'm like want him that bad, and it's like that tells me right there that it's lust. Like, and like you said, that should die out quick. I have to really look at him like, as is he gonna be a great father, a great husband, like for this unit? Like, is he even, see, a man could still be even smart too, but still just not, he don't have the tools to really know how to function in that unit, you know?
Yeah,
And I think we all need those tools. We all need to just reestablish like what it is to function in a unit like that. And I'm sure there's a lot of Black families out there. I just wasn't raised in one. So I have to kind of figure it out myself. Like figure out how that looks, figure out what I need. And I know a leader, so I have to be that too, you know, just somebody who's active and productive and not, you know, inconsistent. If I'm gonna want to attract somebody that I see as ideal to be a life partner, then I should be able to, you know, have those things too. I'm not gonna have them all. Like he can bring another piece to the table, but you know, I think that's definitely important. Just a lot of people having kids too with people, like it happens. I get it. You know, you done had some kids with a man that ain't even, and you done grown, or a man or a woman, you done had kids with them and they're not even on that level where y'all could really build a family like that. Y'all ain't even on the same place mentally. So like thinking about who you having kids with and setting a family up with is just super important.
Yeah. And so the best piece of advice that I can give to anybody that's watching is to always do everything you can to advance your narrative and take away from the things that get in the way. So no swimming around the fishbowl, you know what I'm saying? What I like to say, you know what I'm saying? No swimming around the fucking fishbowl. A lot of uncharted waters out there. So you go ahead and, you know, find your own way, you know.
Right.
Anything else?
Thanks. No, that is it. That was great. I think we got a lot of things out of there.
Did a great job, you know what I'm saying? Key Wellness on YouTube. She has a much better following than me. She's just lazy.
Inconsistent, but I'm gonna be posting more videos. I'm definitely doing more collabs. I feel like these conversations need to be had. So like I'm definitely gonna have more of these conversations on my channel. So yeah.
All right. Once again,
appreciate you for having me though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely, man. We will definitely do more. We get along, you know, just fine. It's fun making fun of each other and shit like that, but it's great that we can talk about serious stuff too.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right, so yeah, Key Wellness on YouTube. We Winning Wellness on
Milo Nowhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, they know who I be.
Milo Nowhere.
Yeah. All right.
They know who I am.
I'm out of here.
All right. You take care. Peace.